everyone to another week of the Focus TV. We got Octavia Wire here, Raymond Lyons, Malik Miller, Wilson Tarpe Jr. We'll be joined by Cardell Dudley Jr. a little bit later. But Octavia, we're hurtling towards the end of the NFL season, which means NFC East. Some folks gearing up for playoffs. Some folks, that word's already out of their vocabulary. That said, the floor is yours.
Mute. All right, there we go. All right. So it's kind of weird that I feel like the season's gone really, really fast. It's crazy that we're already just finished week 14 and are going into week 15 now. It's just kind of weird how fast it's gone, but nevertheless, it has come and those 14 weeks have passed. And the NFC's not doing too great. Now the Giants are on a bye this week, so they could win nor lose. But the other three teams this week did not fare too well. And I will start with the most recent, which happened last night. The Philadelphia Eagles played against the Los Angeles Chargers. The Eagles lost to the Chargers 22-19 in overtime. Jalen Hurts was 21 of 40, 240 yards, 4 interceptions, which is wild. 4 carries for 8 yards. Saquon Barkley had 20 carries for 122 yards and 1 touchdown. And A.J. Brown had 6 receptions for 100 yards. On the other side, Justin Herbert was 12 of 26, 139 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 10 carries for 66 yards. Omarion Hampton, who came back after suffering a foot injury earlier on in the season, so this was his first game back. He had 13 carries for 56 yards and 2 receptions for 11 yards and 1 touchdown. And Kamani Vidal had 1 reception for 60 yards and 14 carries for 44 yards. I think the obvious thing to start in this game is I've never seen Jalen Hurts play so bad. I guess if you want to say in the NFL, I mean, of course he hasn't had some great games, but I cannot remember a 4 interception game from him. I literally was in my room screaming that we have on white and the other team has on blue. So I don't know if Jalen went colorblind for a game, but it was pretty difficult to watch. I'll be honest, I did not make it through the entire game because that's how annoying it was. But even though he had 4 interceptions, he also had a fumble. So he had 5 total turnovers, the 4 interceptions and a fumble, marking basically, like I said, the worst game of his career. His final interception, which was in overtime, sealed the loss, and it was just nowhere to look from there. His passer rating of 31.2 was among the lowest of his career. And the turnovers were, of course, the primary reason why they were in the situation that they were. And they also could not capitalize on any opportunities that they had throughout the game. Crazy stat, Hurts even became the first player in NFL history to commit 2 turnovers on the same play, which is crazy. Basically, just showing you how crazy it was. Now, as crazy as his was, Justin Herbert and the Chargers also had a crazy day. I believe there were 6 turnovers in the second half, 3 from each team. I mean, in the second quarter, 3 from each team, which is unheard of. It's crazy. So that means even though Jalen Hurts had, again, an awful game, the defense played well enough to keep them in the game. Again, 5 turnovers from your quarterback, and to only lose by 3 in overtime. That means your defense had to be doing something. Their defensive front was outstanding. They sacked Justin Herbert 7 times, and they pressured him nearly in 7% of his dropbacks. The secondary also played well. I found myself not hating Adoree Jackson as much. He's finally started to not be a thorn in our side. Is he perfect? No, no player is, but he has come a long way since game 1 of the season. He's playing a lot better, as well as, of course, Cooper DeJean. They both made key plays, including an interception, multiple pass breakups. They were playing really, really good. But again, despite as well as the defense was playing, Justin Herbert, this was his, he played this game after getting surgery on his left wrist, which is his whatever his non-throwing hand is, a week prior. And a lot of questions that arose was he going to rush? Was he going to run? Knowing that he was going to be trying to protect that hand. There were multiple times you could see him get knocked down. He was trying to keep the hand upright to make sure it didn't hit the ground. So even with that, he still has 66 yards rushing, a couple of clutch ones. There was a time where it looked like we were going to sack him, and he just evaded everybody and ran for the first down. So he had a pretty good game. And then, of course, he had some clutch runs in overtime as well. And then also, this was probably one of the best games we got from Saquon Barkley this year. It's his second 100-yard rushing game of the season. He finished up with 122 yards on 20 carries, like I said, and an amazing 52-yard touchdown run on a fake tush push. So rare bright spot on that side. I mean, AJ Brown had the receptions, and I'm gonna keep saying it ever since his receptions have gone up. The wins have gone down. I don't know if they correlate to the same, but it's looking like it. Special teams, while Britton Covey did have some sparks on some runbacks from punts and kicks, Jake Elliott is also giving me flashes of 2023, even though this entire team is giving me flashes of 2023 with the collapse. The 10-game skid at the end of not 10-game skid, but the skid at the end of the season in 2023. It's looking real 2023-ish. And then with Jake Elliott missing a 48-yard field goal during the game, which is a routine kick. Again, you got Brandon Aubrey kicking from behind half midfield and making them. And hindsight being 2020, had he made that, maybe we would have never even had to go to overtime. So there's definitely some things that they have to work out. Of course, they now have lost 3 straight games, dropping to 8-5. And it's not really creating separation in the East. Now they have a little bit of cushion. I believe there's a 93% chance per next gen stats that they'll still make the playoffs. But even if they make the playoffs, playing the way that they're playing, they're going to be bounced in the wild card. It's going to be grand opening, grand closing. So Nick Sirianni this past week, he was more involved in the offensive meetings, and he's already come out and stated that he plans to be more involved again this week. I promise y'all, and I'm gonna say this right now, if they lose to the Raiders, I'm not coming. I'm not gonna be here, because if they lose to the Raiders, it is hit the red button at this point. So I don't know what's going on, but they have the opportunity to continuously still get it together. They're 8-5. They're faring better than some of the other teams, of course. But it's not the caliber that we expected from this team coming off of a Super Bowl championship last season. I know the offensive coordinator is probably the hot button, and it's warranted. So they play against the Raiders on Sunday at 1, and I hope to be here, because if they lose to the Raiders, I'm not coming. Next, we'll go to the home team, the Washington Commanders. Whew, Jesus. They played against the Minnesota Vikings, and they lost to the Vikings 31-0. With the return of Jayden Daniels, why, I don't know, but he was there. Jayden Daniels was 9 of 20. He had 78 yards, 1 interception, and 4 carries for 16 yards. Marcus Mariota did make an appearance, who was 2 for 4, 30 yards. He also added an interception and 2 carries for 7 yards. Chris Rodriguez Jr. had 10 carries for 52 yards, and Terry McLaurin had 3 receptions for 41 yards. On the other side, J.J. McCarthy was 16 of 23, 163 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 carries for 19 yards. Aaron Jones Sr. had 14 carries for 76 yards. Jordan Mason, 11 carries for 52 yards and 1 touchdown. Jordan Addison had 4 receptions for 62 yards. Josh Oliver had 2 receptions for 24 yards and 2 touchdowns. And TJ Hawkinson had 2 receptions for 12 yards and 1 touchdown. Again, like I stated, why Jayden Daniels was in this game, I believe what they came out and said was that they wanted him to continuously progress in his development as far as being an NFL quarterback. Y'all could save that for next year, bro. I don't know how much more development he can get in the way that this season is going for them. They need to hang it up. I don't know if they've made any statements today or yesterday in regards to if he is going to play next week. But I'm hoping that they come out and say that he is not going to play. It's bad. He returned after missing 4 games with an elbow injury on his non-throwing arm. But of course, struggled mightily after missing 4 games. It's inevitable. He ended his day in the third quarter after he re-injured said elbow while chasing down Andrew Van Ginkel following a pick 6 attempt. Why? I don't know. Jaden, let it go. The season's over. Don't re-injure yourself. But again, when you have these players that go out there and play, all they think about is they want to win. So they don't think in the moment, and that's why the coaches are supposed to be there to protect them. He shouldn't have been in the game in the first place. So this is his third exit, early exit due to injuries this season, which of course continue to raise questions about his durability, which of course continues the people in the area to continuously look at the likes of RG3. I'm hopeful that does not turn out to be him. I don't think anybody wants that. I know a lot of people are trying to say people are pushing that narrative on him. I don't think that's what people are doing. I think people are stating the obvious, where we don't want that to happen again. So I think people feel like the more you say it out loud, the more it should register in the franchise's head that y'all have gone down this road before. There have been a lot of gruesome injuries with Washington quarterbacks, as we've known over the years. We don't want that for Jaden Daniels. He's a spectacular player. Yeah, there are some durability concerns, but I don't even know how you guys expect him to beef up in the offseason if he's recovering from every injury that he has this year and you're consistently putting him out there for more punishment and you have been eliminated from the playoffs. Their offense, of course, missed a lot of opportunities within this game. Their opening drive was pretty promising. They actually reached the Vikings 2-yard line, but instead of relying on the run, they opted to pass, and it was a drop touchdown by Debo on 4th down. The failure flipped momentum, and from there, Minnesota responded with a 19-play, 98-yard drive lasting over 12 minutes, making it 14-0 from there. The Commanders pretty much never recovered from that, as you can tell with the score of 31-0. It just wasn't worth it, in my opinion. The offense finished with just 206 total yards, only 99 net passing yards, and 0 points. They had 3 turnovers and all, poor red zone execution throughout the game, and it just sealed their fate. It was just an all-around bad game for them. To add insult to injury, they beyond Jaden Daniels and his injured left arm, elbow. This one hurts my heart because I love Zach Ertz. You know, he played for the Birds for a very long time. Zach Ertz also suffered a gruesome knee injury, which ended his season. They have already confirmed that he tore his ACL at the age of 35. He's out. I talked about earlier on this season that I thought he was in good shape, and I thought that he was doing well, especially with the injuries they had with Terry McLaurin. Debo was out some. Noah Brown didn't play. That he had a chance to possibly try to run him back next year, just knowing that this season was pretty much lost. But it's sad to see him get injured, especially this late in the season, and then knowing his age and seeing if we can get a comeback from him next year. So that's one thing I'll be looking to see. I'm praying for him and hopefully that he's able to do it because he's a great player. He deserves the best. So hopefully he's able to bounce back from that. But Washington has now lost 8 straight games. They are now 3-10. They've been outscored by 21 points 5 times this season. And this game has got to be a very, very low point for them. To go from last season to this season is just the craziest turnaround that I've ever seen. Even from if you go the season before that to last season to now this season, it's the most up and down I've ever seen for a team within a 3-year span. Most teams, when they're bad one year, they're kind of bad the next year and maybe a little bit better the year after, but they were bad, really, really, really good, really, really bad, even though I do feel like a lot of that bad hinged on a lot of injuries that they had this year. They will play against the Giants this Sunday, so it'll be an interdivision game as well. So we'll see how that fares for them. Hopefully we'll see Marcus Mariota out there. Last but not least, the Dallas Cowboys played on Thursday night against the Detroit Lions. They lost to the Lions 44-30. Dak Prescott was 31 of 47, 314 yards. Javonte Williams had 17 carries for 67 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 receptions for 0 yards. CeeDee Lamb had 6 receptions, 121 yards, and Ryan Flournoy had 9 receptions for 115 yards and 1 touchdown. On the other side, Jared Goff was 25 of 34, 309 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 carries for -2 yards. David Montgomery, 6 receptions for 60 yards. 6 carries for 60 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 reception for 13 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, 12 carries, 43 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 7 receptions for 77 yards. And then Jameson Williams had 7 receptions for 96 yards, and Isaac Tesla had 2 receptions for 20 yards and 1 touchdown. I think the obvious thing to talk about is the playoff hopes for the Dallas Cowboys have been all but diminished at this point. I don't think they're mathematically eliminated from it, but they are going to need a lot of help. Before this game, they really needed to win out in order to really have a good chance to make the playoffs. So this loss has definitely derailed that for them. Now, again, with the Philadelphia Eagles, they're not making it easy on themselves. They're giving them some hope, because at this point, the only thing that can really shake for the Cowboys is if they win the division. They do still have a game against the Commanders. I'm not sure. They might still have a game against the Giants. I'm not sure. And I know they have another game, and they split with the Philadelphia Eagles. So, but I mean, essentially this game this past Thursday was an elimination game, and that loss dropped them to 6-1, with only about an 8 to 10% chance to make the playoffs. Even if they do win out, their odds won't exceed 40%. So they really have very, very, very little margin for error in order for them to do what they want to do, which is make the playoffs and make a playoff run. The coaching is still a little bit up in the air. I do think Schottenheimer has done markedly better than I think anybody thought he would do. When in the off season he was named as the head coach. I think a lot of people didn't even realize that he would be in the running for it. But they definitely have some conservative play calling within this game. For example, before halftime, down 2 scores, instead of trying to maybe draw them off sides to see if they can get closer to score a touchdown, they opted just to kick the field goal. Now, of course, when you have a kicker like Brandon Aubrey, it's kind of easy to do that. So I understand it, but maybe that was an opportunity for them to take a chance, knowing that they needed this game, and playing against the Detroit Lions and the likes of Jahmyr Gibbs. Field goals aren't going to cut it. So then they also had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. We've talked about the penalties that they've had over this season. You know, sometimes it doesn't come back to bite them, but in this game, it definitely did. They had a 15-yard offensive pass interference wiped out, a huge play for them. They had a hands to the face penalty, which negated a defensive pass interference that would have put Dallas at the 1-yard line. And sure enough, would have been a score for them probably. They had a lot of turnovers. 2 tip passes became interceptions. So while Dak gets the credit for the interceptions, the passes were tipped. And Jake Ferguson fumbled at midfield, which obviously erased a scoring opportunity for them as well. So those penalties and those miscues and those things that the coaches talk to players about every day and every week, it still definitely came back to bite them in the behind this week. Again, their red zone failures, they again leaned heavily on Brandon Aubrey, who had 5 field goals, including from 57, 55, and 63 yards. He was on my fantasy team. He got me 25 points as a kicker, which is crazy. But yeah, a lot of their drives stalled, and they repeatedly just had to kick field goals to come away with some points, because you have to score at some point when you're playing against Detroit, to be fair. On the defensive side, even though, of course, they added Quinnen Williams at the trade deadline, who actually, was a good spark for them when he first came on, their defense kind of reverted back to what it's looked like all season. The Lions averaged 43 yard starting field position, which also was due to poor special team coverage. So it was really like pretty much all 3 phases of the team had their issues throughout this game, and it kind of sealed it for them. Again, we know Dallas can score points, but if their defense isn't on, and even with the way they score points in this game, they left a lot out there with the interceptions and the fumbles and the penalties that they could have gotten. So, and then last but not least, to add insult to injury, CeeDee Lamb left with another concussion in the third period, the third quarter, and did not return. So I will be interested to see if, because I believe this is his second concussion this year. I'm not sure. I might be off. I think he hurt his ankle earlier. That's what I'm thinking. But a lot of times when they have concussions, now luckily for them, they have a little bit of a longer week that they played on a Thursday, so he has more time to clear concussion protocol. But it's going to be up in the air. Of course, there was a lot of talks about the effort of George Pickens, whether it was there or whether it wasn't. There's a lot of clips out there that prove that it wasn't, but I'm not a wide receiver in the NFL, so I don't know what his effort level was, but didn't look good. So there's still a lot to be left to be desired for them. Unfortunate for them because, again, as you guys know, I hate nationally televised games. But they will be on national TV again. They'll play Sunday night against the Minnesota Vikings, who, of course, just came off of the 31-0 victory against the Commanders. So I'm sure and they still have a lot to fight for in their division, which is probably one of the best divisions within the NFC, between them and probably the NFC West. So I guess we'll see what happens next week.
Yeah, Brian Flores' defense is a joke.
Yeah.
Ray. That time of the show, man.
Oh man, I look forward to this so much every week. Yeah, the Wizards, they continue to struggle, man. They've started a new losing streak after having some success in the prior week. They dropped 3 consecutive games to Philly, Boston, and Atlanta. I mean, I can pretty much just put my segment on repeat every week. They continue to struggle defensively. They're super inconsistent on that end of the floor. They've, had some been dealing with injuries as well. Sarr has missed 4 consecutive games. Trey Johnson has been out. Corey Kispert has been out. So there's been some their lineup has fluctuated, and it's just been crazy for them. But it doesn't matter who's on the floor if nobody's going to consistently put in effort. We've said time and again, especially if you guys have been watching Outlook, the stretches where they decide to defend, they're successful. And the stretches when they don't, they're not. It's as simple as that. And the analysis isn't going to change until they make a change. So, I'm not going to bore you guys with X's and O's because I honestly feel like that's irrelevant at this point. They're either going to play defense and be competitive, or they're not and continue to lose. And right now, it looks like they're trending towards the latter. They stand at 3-19 right now. So, unless something miraculous happens, just go ahead and prepare for the draft. The most frustrating part about this continues to be that their problem is not a lack of talent. We see it in flashes at times, especially with Sarr. Unfortunately, he has been out recently, but we've seen him kind of turn the corner when he's been on the court. Bilal Coulibaly, this was looking to be a big year for him, but he's been battling with some injuries. So they just got a lot working against them now, on top of their inefficiency on defense and offensive time. So yeah, man. Hopefully, I can report back with better news next week. They get a little break for the NBA Cup knockout rounds. They're back in action on Friday against Cleveland, and then they start a mini road trip. They're playing at Indiana on Sunday the 14th, and then they're at San Antonio and at Memphis to finish out the week.
Yeah, I'm happy they have a break. We can start there. We needed one, for sure. I think it's the kindest way. I can speak about what's happening with the Wizards. Is we definitely needed a little bit of break. I'm happy for the little 4 or 5 day before going back to. It's my turn to trek up to Cap One later this week. So, tag I'm it apparently. So, that's that. Real quick, I'm gonna keep you guys full screen for this because it was Ray, I know you saw this. I think Cardell put it in our group chat on Sunday. Maryland women's, right? Wild game. So I'm not going to deprive you guys of watching. I don't want to deprive myself or the folks watching. See you. But yeah, they traveled up to Minnesota for their first conference game of the season. And it was a wild finish. Here we go, trying to get this up on the screen. Shout out to technology, some difficulties today. And there we go, I think, finally. All right. Finally got it up on the screen, but we pretty much saw them wipe out a 9-point deficit in 9 seconds. It was something that it took a couple of watches for me to kind of fully process. I can only imagine what it was like for Minnesota fans in your building to watch that happen to your team is completely crazy, right? So again, let me try to go back on this video a little bit now that I think technology is on our side again. Hopefully I don't speak too soon. All right. So they're down 9, 44.3 seconds left in OT. Sailor Poffenberger's at the line. She went to the line. She hits both. Then Maryland does what, is Coach Free special. Done this for years. They go to their press. The press leads to an errant pass. Kendall Walker flies into the screen, gets a layup, is fouled immediately. She goes to the line. She hits her free throws. On the ensuing possession, again, just another inbound pass from Minnesota. It was hell for them to inbound the ball, apparently, to get out of this game. After Kendall Walker stole the pass, you guys will see here in a little bit, Oluchi Akanawa essentially does the same thing. So credit the first 2 players at the top of the press. I think when Kendall got her steal, it was Rainey Wilson and Addie Mack. The second time, I think it was Kendall and Addie Mack, and it led to Oluchi stepping in front of a pass, getting a layup. You guys are about to see that right now. It was literally just bonkers up. As a coach, I don't know what you would be thinking right here. Like you have established already that they're pressing now. This is the second time that you have now fouled them. All right. You were up 9. It hasn't been 15 seconds or anything like that. You've yet to inbound the ball successfully to get the ball down court. And in 2 inbound attempts, you're 0 for 2, and the opposing team has scored 6 points to cut into that deficit. Next time, after that, Oluchi hits the free throws. The Gophers call timeout to advance the ball. Rainey Wilson for the Terps, one of the talented freshmen, she does a great job defensive. She almost forces the steal. Then again, Minnesota has to inbound the ball. This time they inbounded successfully, but Maryland's ball pressure leads to some miscommunication and an errant pass. Next thing you know, that's 3 possessions. You had the ball up 9. You went 0 for 3 on those possessions. Maryland's right back in it. Here's a possession that Rainey Wilson almost comes up with a steal. But again, their ball pressure, I know you guys have been hearing me talk about how they've been leading with their defense over and over again almost every week when I come on here. Apparently, who knew there's themes to that type of thing? Like if you do it enough, maybe it becomes who you are. Just look how disoriented Minnesota was here. They're 2 passes away from a bucket quells this. Like, you're okay. You get out of here. Instead, errant pass. Maryland ball, they call their final timeout. Sailor Poffenberger does an exceptional job here dealing with someone who was trying to front her. She leveraged the defender all the way out to three-point line, made it an easy entry pass, catches and finishes, and then their defense holds up not once but twice because they almost get the steal. Minnesota ball. See, Addie Mack, the hometown kid, sliding across the floor, had to feel good to get a win at home. But Minnesota, you were up 9 in double OT in your building, and you fell to Maryland 100-99. Mind you, they had Minnesota. You were at home again, second quarter. You come out in the second quarter, and you have a hell of a run in the second quarter. You go on a 17-0 run in the second quarter to win that period, 24-9. And then Maryland responds immediately in the third quarter. But again, you were the home team. You just needed a couple buckets to get out of that. But credit to Maryland, credit to Brenda, credit to that group. And again, I guess you guys can keep hearing me say this all year. It's kind of like opposite day for what we talk about on the association side, Ray, where, you know, we're kind of begging for defense. This is something where it looks like no matter what, it looks like they're good. This is going to come with Maryland, no matter who's on the court, what they're going through, what have you. But that was a hell of a finish. Just a hell of a finish. Don't know if you're Minnesota, how you – that's a tough way to lose the first conference game of the year. In your building, you're up on Maryland. It's not a team you have great success against over time. Things are looking great for you, and that happens. But, again, credit to Maryland for that. Sailor Poffenberger had a career-high 30 points in this game. She also grabbed rebounds, which pushed her past the 1,000 career point mark. Aluchi Okonowo also had 25 points and 8 rebounds. The Terps got 16 from Addie Mack and 15 from Yarden Garzon. Garzon, I didn't show it because it was hard to – because, of course, people are difficult. So we had someone who had a great 3-minute video on the last 44 seconds of the game. And then the overall game recap from the Big Ten. Bless their hearts. I know everybody's working. They're busy. They kind of left off a couple key possessions, which is why I didn't use that video. But at the end of regulation, Yarden Garzon came up huge. She had a deep three on the right wing. I'm sorry, at the end of the first overtime, Maryland was down 84-79 with 18.7 seconds to go in that period of free basketball. So, again, Minnesota, you're up 5. Things are cool. Addie Mack with like a delayed handoff with Garzon. Garzon shoots it from the parking lot. She knocks it down. Then, again, this is why the press bothering Minnesota like it did in the second overtime was just tough for me to process. Was they did this to you in the first overtime. They also did this to you periodically when they needed to during this game. Also, it's something Brenda has done throughout her tenure here in College Park. They press. They want to defend, rebound, and run. But hell of a one for them. They're at home Wednesday. I want to make sure I tell you guys the right team. I believe they are hosting Delaware State. Then later this week, Maryland will. Well, they just got one. They just had one more game this week, so it was Delaware State. But again, just that was a hell of a finish. Yeah, I don't know, but for Minnesota, they had a couple people fouled out. But Grace Grokowski, this had to hurt. You want to talk about somebody emptying the clip in a game and you still come up with a L? 31 points. This young lady hit 9 threes. She was 9 of 12 from deep. Ended up fouling out in double overtime.
Dang, that sucks.
Yeah. Incredibly difficult way to start conference play, knowing what else can you ask for? You're at home, you go up big. It's a Maryland team with a good amount of youth on it, and yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's a long season, obviously. Conference play, just not even really getting going yet, honestly. But we're gonna move to take it or leave it. So if you guys are ready for that, let's head to that. I got some good stuff in Octavia. I apologize to you in advance. Not my fault.
Oh man.
If your team did it, we're talking about it.
They didn't do it.
Hey, whatever they said, y'all did. Especially this week. Y'all did it.
They did it. They responsible. No, who didn't do it? Seattle. Hello.
Octavia, you good?
I'm all right.
All right.
I won't be if we lose to the Raiders, though. I won't be. I'm gonna tell you that.
No, you won't be, because I've left you alone for like 2 years. I've not bothered you since that game that shall not be mentioned in 23.
I appreciate that. I'm trying not to. I try.
Look, but if you lose to the Raiders,
Yeah, we deserve
No,
it.
they're gonna win that game, and then that's gonna build them confidence. And a game against the Raiders shouldn't build you confidence. So it should be a program, to be a like that shouldn't be a standard or like 60 points or something, you know.
It worked for the Cowboys.
oh my God. Ray's minding his business. How does Ray get his minding his goal?
After they beat the Raiders, that's when everybody was like, "Oh, they about to do it."
I'm just saying, it's the perimeter of our show. Ray is over there always minding his Dallas Cowboy
I'm not
business
even talking about Ray, because I know Ray probably agrees with us in this aspect. I'm just saying that it worked for them.
Catch it straight for no reason at all.
Some people competing, and then some people that's ridiculous.
Oh yeah. So
Desmond Bain.
Malik, since that's ridiculous, we're starting here. This is the simpler, is take it or leave it. We usually have some questions that have several layers. I don't think this is one of those types of questions. It could be. Who knows? You guys might shock me. Desmond Bain was fined $35,000 for throwing the ball at OG Anunoby in Sunday's contest. Technically, OG was out of bounds, and what Bain did technically did save the possession for Orlando. But my question is, why did he try to gain possession like that? Then take it or leave it. Just crash out behavior by Bain, or just an overzealous whistle. I'm sorry. Overzealous whistle.
He definitely taking it. He definitely took advantage of the opportunity. Not sure with the media, the player clips, we're going to catch them, with the mic is hot, but it's definitely a reason he threw the ball at him. Nobody that's not on the floor with them, or just them two in general, will ever know why it was. Desmond Bain definitely has more to say than what he said. And, NBA players don't really fight for real. So, I guess he just did that because he knew nothing was going to happen, but only so much can happen at that point. With a guy like OG, or just with a lot of guys in the NBA in general. But, he got some clicks. He's getting fined for. Yeah. So I leave that where it's at.
All right, Ray, your thoughts on Mr. Bain since he's been in Orlando and his type of behavior that may or may not have traveled with him from the fine confines of Memphis.
Yeah, they got to start fighting again in the league, because that's foolishness. Like, he already had possession of the ball. Like, that wasn't one of those desperation joints where you just falling out of bounds and you trying to throw it. Like, he grabbed the ball and planted his feet like a pitcher and slung the ball at this dude full force from 2 feet away. And, like, foolishness. And OG's getting up talking about why did you do that? Like, he wouldn't have been getting fined $35,000. I would have been getting fined $500,000 and suspended for my reaction, because completely unnecessary. And like he did it because he knew nothing was going to happen. Like, that's just stupid, man. Like, something's got to give.
Octavia, your thoughts on your boy Desmond Bain?
Yeah, I'm taking it as 100% crash out. Like you said, there were a lot of crash outs on the Memphis Grizzlies where he came from. So I think that behavior traveled with him. It's the way he cocked his arm back. It was like, it was like he was playing dodgeball. I think he forgot he was playing basketball. I think he was playing dodgeball and was like, "Oh, you're out." It was unnecessary. Like, I get trying to throw the ball off of him, but it was definitely excessive. And kind of like what Malik said too, like, I wonder if it stemmed from some of back and forth they had throughout the game or something that we might not know about or anything like that. But it definitely was crash out behavior, and It's a $35,000 crash out. I'm sure it's a drop in the bucket for them, but they can send me the $35,000. I'd take it. I need to sign up for how to get paid from all of these fines, even though I'm not nowhere incorporated in it. But it was definitely extra. But to be fair, I feel like that's how Orlando be playing this year. Like, I don't know what it is. They're probably not as bad as some of the other teams, but I feel like a lot of them be a little bit extra. But I guess they're young and scrappy. I don't know. But yeah, it was definitely a crash out.
Yeah, I just the part that killed me was like Ray said,
No.
when he got the ball, both his feet were firmly planted in bounds. You could have just went up court, brother. You could have just started the fast break, sir. Also, like, you got other big annoying dudes on your team. You could have just asked one of them to run through OG Anunoby. You weren't gonna do it. Hey, there's a bunch of them on Orlando. Just ask one of them to do it. But throwing the ball like that is mad childish. And that's actually, like, that's the crazy part. Orlando is overly physical because there's like just a bunch of really big kids. This is something else. Like, what's wrong with you, dude? Like, I like Orlando. Don't come over here tainting stuff because something's wrong with y'all. Like, chill out, man. All right, this is a good one. Hey guys, I don't know if you guys heard about this. The Colts are going through it under center. They have officially run out of quarterbacks, and apparently there's none left on earth after Riley Leonard got hurt, relieving Daniel Jones, who got hurt in the same game this past week. Anthony Richardson has been on injured reserve since October after suffering a serious face fracture in an equipment failure involving stretching bands. Enter, I'm just reading, just the messenger. Enter Phillip Rivers. According to ESPN sources in an article by Stephen Holder, Rivers will be joining the Colts practice squad, and Leonard hasn't yet officially been cleared to play next week. And I believe they play the Seahawks. Well, take it or leave it. Phillip Rivers to the rescue in 2025. Also, if Rivers starts a game for the Colts this season for any reason, he would become the fifth quarterback in history to start a game at age 44 or older. Malik, your thoughts on Phillip Rivers not having a 19th kid and picking up a football?
I'm gonna leave it that Phillip Rivers gives the Colts the best chance to win a football game. I absolutely understand that. This is the best chance they have to win a Super Bowl since Peyton Manning. I absolutely understand that as well. But is he going to beat the Seahawks if he starts? Absolutely not. Is he probably going to make the playoffs? They had need a lot of teams to lose, but he's not going to make a playoff run. But this is the best chance they have. They know it's the best chance they have. They give him to somebody they trust, and yeah. But I'm leaving it where it's at though. I understand their concept, and if he plays against us, this is going to be a lot too little.
Octavia, your thoughts on Uncle Phil Rivers coming back out here?
You're killing me. Uncle Phil Rivers is crazy. There's nobody else, really. Nobody. They'd have been better off calling Andrew Luck and be like, "Hey, bro, you want to just play like for a little bit of time?" Like, there's nobody but 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. Like, and what's so funny is that this is like this. It's like deja vu for the Indianapolis Colts. It's like they've been doing this the last however many umpteenth years, ever since Andrew Luck retired early, and they have just been cycling through quarterbacks, trying to figure out what they can do, where they can do it. Anthony Richardson hitting himself in the eye with a resistant band is still crazy to me. And now you got the rookie who, bro, this could be your big chance. Now your knee hurt? Come on, man. Like, what is going on down there? And I always forget if it's Shane Steichen or Jonathan Gannon, one of them out there. Like, I know y'all are kicking yourselves for, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, when all they had to do was like win one game or something against like a terrible team to make it the playoffs or something like that. And then even now, because like they had such a great start, like I'll say for example, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're gonna collapse this year. But at least they won the Super Bowl last year. You know, at least they went to the bowl the year before. I mean, nothing good has happened in Indianapolis in a long time. And it's just sad to see that 44 like you couldn't find somebody who was 39. I don't know, bro. Like, you had to go all the way to 45 basically, because if he ain't 45 already this year, he turned 45 next year. We're at the end of the year. So I'm rounding up. He 45. Okay. That's wild. But good luck to him. Maybe like you said, his 15 kids have kept him in shape. So maybe he can run. We'll see. But like Malik said, if he play on Sunday against the Seahawks, he definitely gonna be running. And I hope he can run fast. I hope them knees ain't cracking. And if they play, like, geez, good luck to him. That's just bad.
He's never ran far.
I know.
No matter how fast he can go.
Like what are we?
Never
So
ran
there's not a quarterback on the practice squad they could pull up. Like, I know it's not going to be great, but at least he been here all year and he ain't 45. I think after this, I'm going to do some research and I'm going to call them and be like, bro, y'all could have tried this dude. It's somebody else out there besides Phillip Rivers. I get that he came in and helped them a couple of years ago. So the continuity in that aspect of it, but I can't.
It's like the WWE. They just bring people back.
It's like The Rock coming back.
They just bringing Pete Johnson. They just bringing them back. Every 4 years, they just bring them back. New team, new flavor this time. Just bring them in.
My God, they could have.
Right.
I would have called Ryan Fitzpatrick off of Prime, but like, come on, bro. You don't play for 75,000 teams anyway. What's one more?
Your thoughts on Mr. Rivers being on the practice squad in this year of 2025, sir?
Practice squad at 45 is wild.
I'm gonna leave it, man. What do they think they're gonna get out of this? It had to be another option. That's all I'm gonna say. It had to be. This couldn't have been the thing where they was like, this is what's gonna salvage our season. And if you are at that point, then God help you.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave all of that alone. That we was talking about the coach GM like a couple of weeks ago. He just out here GMing for his life right now. This is what you do when you're GMing to keep your job, dude. Because there's no rational, there's no collection of thoughts that go, let me scan the NFL. Phillip Rivers, hey, Phil, what you doing? You still running our offense at your high school? You ready to come in and lead us down the stretch the rest of this season? This is like, that's what we're doing, huh? Shout out to you, Chris Ballard. Rapid fire. Look, I'm not even messing with that. Just shout out to the Colts, man. That had me dying last night when I saw it. Then today, when it apparently was real, made it worse. But again, Octavia, I apologize in advance before we got started. So you know what time it is. As you mentioned, one Nick Sirianni confirmed this week that he's become more involved in the Eagles offense. I'm the head coach, so my attention goes to places that I feel like it needs to go to. I like it that it needs to go. This week was with the offense, and I'll continue to go in there with those guys and grind it out through the weeds with them and continue to move forward with that. Sirianni was more vocal in meetings with the offense and was presenting material alongside coordinator Kevin Patullo last week, sources previously told ESPN. One source said he's been addressing the group for longer than usual at the top of the meetings before ceding to Patullo, who continues to run them. Take it or leave. So I guess I'm sorry. This is rapid fire. I had to take it or leave it because I was doing too much at the time. Y'all have any faith that this is going to jumpstart this Eagles team? Like, I tell you, we're going to go to you last because you already used the C word with your team already. So I know where you at with it already. But Malik, again, is this going to fix things for them or?
Yeah, I hate the offensive coordinator. some things can be messed up, but they're completely broken. Saquon Barkley has been broken this year. Jalen Hurts has been broken this year. For 90% of the season, we've been talking about A.J. Brown being broken this year. Some linemen are gone, yes, but all the guys that 365 days ago we were calling superhuman or Superman in one way or another were amazing, and now they're all broken. Saquon Barkley averaging around roughly 4 yards a carry. I think he scored his 5th touchdown last night, 5th or 6th. Just the play calling it starts with the play calling. First and goal last night. They're in shotgun formation. First in 1.5 yard line. It was just right after the catch on the sideline, going right down to the line of scrimmage. They're in shotgun formation. Whether the tush push works 100% like it did last year and is roughly moved to 65% this year, that's a first down play. Win, lose, draw, that's a play that moves the ball. And that's just one of the plays. And, you don't have to get paid millions of dollars to see the differences between the play calling and just how they're setting up things to be successful. First, they can come out first possession, first play in the possession. Saquon Barkley is getting a tackle for loss by Derwin James because they're blitzing on the first down, condensed formation. So it's just a play call, and the play call is like a boxing match. They're not getting the right swings, the right punches, and the right combination together, which is why the offense is looking bottled. And like Octavius said earlier, A.J. Brown's numbers are going up, but the same rate they are losing games. But there's a mixture, and there's a even batter that makes the recipe. And Sirianni sees that he has to step in and handle that, because if he doesn't, it's not going to go well.
Ray, your thoughts on, I guess if they're your team this week, their division foes, what they got going on?
I don't got much faith in my man. I mean, he was an offensive coordinator for the Colts, but he wasn't even calling plays when he had that job. Then, as he's been coach of the Eagles, he lost his offensive coordinator a couple years ago, but he was more involved then. They still regressed, so I don't think anything's going to change now, especially at this point in the season. Yeah, man, I don't know, man. They may have to look elsewhere, because it's especially after the game Jalen had this past week. We may be at the bottom of the bottom here, and I don't know what happened to Saquon, but yeah, it's looking rough, and I just don't think him assuming that responsibility is going to change things much.
Octavia, did you have any words to add? I didn't want to share my little 2 cents till after you had a chance to speak.
So yeah, like I've said this season, it just seems like this happens every other year. When we lose offensive coordinators, whoever is replaced, and usually it's an internal replacement. When that was Brian Johnson, and now Kevin, whatever. I was about to call him Kevin O'Connell, but Kevin Pachulo, excuse me. It's the being more involved in the meetings thing. Like, to me, that ain't gonna do it. Like, you need to be more involved during the game. Like, I need you there during the game. Like we AI this part. Practice? We talking about practice? No, I'm talking about during the game. You need to be standing next to him. Do we need to hire, like, what team was it that year they hired like an advisor for the offensive coordinator? We need to hire an advisor for the offensive coordinator, because it's bad. And like you've all have already said, it's not like these players forgot how to play football. Yeah, the offensive line is definitely not the same. It sucked even more, and I forgot to mention Landon Dickerson left the game last night as well with an injury. Lane Johnson is still out. I don't think they realized how big of a hole it would be losing Mekhi Becton to the Chargers, nonetheless. And as much as I love Jordan Mailata, he's been the culprit for a lot of penalties this year as well. So, yes, we have that situation. Yes, I think Jalen Hurts went colorblind last night and thought we had on blue instead of white. But it starts from the top. Like, at this point, I want to see what happens if Kevin Petrulla don't even say nothing. Let the players just run it for a game and see what happens, because I don't know. And I think what's frustrating as an Eagles fan is that the owner and the GM and the coach are so loyal in these type of situations that I don't think that they're going to fire him during the season, at least. And to me, in all fans, that's all that matters. I don't care if you fire him after the season's over, because the season's over. We need something now. I mean, even when you look at, use the Giants for an example, even though it ain't been good. But even when they fired somebody, it puts a spark in the team. Like, we need a spark somewhere. So him talking longer in meetings ain't gonna do this. I need you next to him during the game and be like, Kevin, we not running that. We're gonna run this instead. That's what I need, because they need to see the cadence of the game and see how the game is flowing to make those decisions. And that's what I think Kevin Petrulla can't do. Like, I watched Hard Knocks last week, and I just got so icky just listening to him talk. That's how annoyed I am with him. And it's so bad I'm not watching this week because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it again. I already saw it yesterday. I don't want to see it again. But yeah, Nick, he always gives you the correct answers. That's what he should say as the head coach of this team. He should say that I'm going to be more involved. I'm going to take a bigger part in it. That's what he's supposed to say. But I hope he's taking a bigger part of it during the game and not just at practice.
Yeah, this is one of the things I think we've really seen, like, this year, maybe like the last 3 or 4 years, maybe, where people are so quick to just give up, like to give folks, like unproven folks, those coordinator jobs, especially calling plays. And I think I think some teams end up in bad situations. They underestimate how tough that is and how much that can mess up your team. So, like, if you're
years ago, though, you would think they saw it years ago, though.
Sometimes they don't. They may see it. We're like, oh, maybe it just didn't work at that time. Like, maybe we'll come to find out in a couple of years that Nick lost the only assistant that he should have held on to. You know, like in Steichen, that should have been the guy that he held closest to him, probably, to go forward. Kind of how, I know, everyone had the jokes with Kyle being here with Sean and Mike and all that or whatever, but like Kyle has a couple dudes on his staff where everyone else is left. There's a couple guys that's like, where Kyle goes, I go. Like, y'all can have the new people. I will go bring in new people and teach them stuff so they can leave. But Chris Forrester, you're here. Chris Kasarik, you're here. I think the OG, can't think of his name right now, the running backs coach, he's been with the Shanahan family forever. Like, there's just some people you can't replace, because if they're gone, the system falls. The other thing is there's levels to play calling. People got people out here thinking like it's sweet and it's easy. It's not. And the great ones, they're really good at it. You can give them some bubble gum, some tape, the whole Tony Stark built it in the cave. I ain't Tony Stark. That's what we're seeing around the league right now, with everybody's broken offenses. Yeah, y'all not Tony Stark. You can't do it. And instead of people being like, hey, maybe we should appreciate some of those guys that might be a little bit different as far as play calling goes, people kind of just, if they don't like the person, they don't care, they talk over whatever. But like Malik, you can just nod your head, but I think you can speak to this quickly. Clint Kubiak comes out the system that he comes out of, and he fixed y'all's whole outlook on life and offense, and it hasn't been a full season because he's already went through the reps of knowing how to call games, having a system he actually believes in, and just being groomed correctly to call plays. The guy that they had before that, I'm sorry, but Waldron, we're gonna put you on blast because you're horrible at your job, sir. You had like you had a really good wide receiver core, and you made everybody think all of them were broken. It was you. Like, that's how bad some of these dudes can be. Like, that dude has Waldron had JSN, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and the Seahawks, the easiest teams in the league to defend, and they shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Like, their accident plays were the scariest part of the Seahawks. With those
Well, explosive plays.
I'm not lying. I'm just honest to God. If they were on schedule, when I tell you I was so unbothered, I was like, they gonna run something that don't make sense. They gonna throw at Fred, and they did. That's what they spent the games doing.
Yeah,
that's what the dude did. And instead, Kubiak coming in like, hey, I don't even care if the run really work. We gonna do it though.
And the run works, and the run is productive. Like, and we throw the ball. We throw the ball at a high clip. When we throw the ball, we're at the bottom of the league for pass attempts per game, and we throw the ball at one of the highest clips per game. And we have a receiver that leads the league in catches. And we grabbed another receiver, and Rashid Shaheed, number 1 guy on his team, in general of the league, number 2 guy in the league. You know, for what he number 1 and the tier of what he's good for. And a number 2 receiver, honestly. He's at the back of the barn for our team at the receiver position. I wish but he's just calling plays at that much of a rate, at a successful rate that he's not even needed right now. So, yeah, this is definitely a flip from what we used to have.
And that's the thing is some of the people find out folks that can design plays can't call plays. I think I need people to fully grasp that. And I'm not shooting this shot at this person because usually I do what I'm leaving alone today. Again, people fall in love with brilliant play designs, and sometimes people don't understand the why. Like, I think Mike McDonald actually had this to say, and I was with him. I was like, preach. And again, that's Seattle's coach. He was like, yeah, some people that see somebody else run a play and they run it, they have no idea why it worked, but we gonna run it. Why are you running it? You have no idea. And that's what people end up doing. People get an unproven play call and they're like, well, so-and-so did this. Man, you ain't so-and-so. And so-and-so, and you don't have so-and-so's weapons. How about you, this is what you do in the offseason. You go to your team, figure out what works, and you use them. But like literally, they broke the Eagles.
Yeah, first and goal on the 1.5-yard line, and we're in shotgun formation.
And if that's not telling you I'm out of my depth, that's what that is. That's not like if Andy Reid does that, I'm not blinking. McVay does it. I don't care. Kyle does it. Whatever. That's what you feel like doing because they've earned the benefit of the doubt to be like, they probably cooked up some sadistic thing out of the gun from 1 yard out. Sir, you? Well, if you don't get in the eye, just get the ball to Saquon. I need you 1 + 1 is 2. Just make it simple. Last thing, and then we out of here real quick because this was college football at its best, man. Gotta love this. So, the college playoff field was announced this week. Notre Dame was a rather large omission. Their athletic director, Pete Bevacqua, I hope I pronounced it right, unloaded on the ACC in the wake of Sunday's college football playoff snub, saying the conference that houses almost every Fighting Irish sports team has caused permanent damage to the relationship. So if you didn't know, Notre Dame is independent in football, but the rest of their sports, they're in conference with the ACC. Bevacqua told the Dan Patrick Show on Monday that he has great respect for Miami, Alabama, and all the teams that stated their cases, yada, yada, yada. His beef with the ACC. We were mystified by the actions of the conference to attack their biggest really partner in football and a member of their conference in 24 of our other sports. They have certainly done permanent damage to the relationship between the conference and Notre Dame. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips said in a statement Monday that the conference stands behind its effort to support and advocate for all 17 of our football-playing member institutions. Essentially, I don't care. You don't play football here, so tis what it is, brother. Last month, the ACC official account posted this. So the ACC had time. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this. No hypotheticals, just facts. Team A, the U, ranked 18th. Team B, Notre Dame. Team A versus Team B. Head-to-head win. 3 wins in the top 5, 4 in the top 35, top 25 wins, top 35 wins. Like, that's how they felt about Notre Dame, man, leading into it. So, Ray, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on the Notre Dame's AD's beef with the ACC? Like, one, is it does he have a case? And two, is the ACC justified in being like, brother, you're outside the conference?
I mean, they are outside the conference. Like, I don't know, man. This is one of those rock and a hard place situations. Points were made on both sides, but if you didn't meet the criteria or what have you, you can't try to muscle your way in because of all the other stuff. If you want them to wholeheartedly support you, then just put your football team in the ACC. That's pretty much all I got. But this is extremely childish, and I'm entertained.
I was looking at it earlier. I was like, oh, why y'all have my attention? Octavia, your thoughts.
I mean, is the ACC not supposed to, in this season that we're in, we are in football season. So is the ACC not supposed to support the team that is in the ACC during football season? Why are you bringing up all of the other sports that have nothing to do with this? And please tell me, did you share your check with the ACC when you guys won last year? When you guys got there last year? I don't think so. I think you kept that check for yourself, right? So you and your check can stay over there. Now we trying to get a check with the team that's in the ACC. So you can't have both sides. You can't have your cake and eat it too, bro. So like you guys have also said, it is very entertaining. It's very childish as well. Especially for the players who, because Notre Dame is coming out and saying that they're not going to play in any bowl games. The seniors, I mean, I heard them talk about it, and even though I know it, knowing that I danced in college, like even thinking about not just the football players, the cheerleaders, the prom dancers, like they're seniors, their parents didn't know that was their last game. They assumed they probably had a bowl game. You know, I remember when I graduated from college, my parents, well, I didn't, it was my junior year, but my last game of the season, my parents always wanted to make sure that they were there. You know, so it's childish in that aspect. But I'm on the ACC side. If you want the backing of a conference, I'm gonna need you to pick one. It's like 50 of them. Pick one. Like you said, most of your teams are here. Maybe you should be here. But you guys have chosen to stay independent. So y'all can independently stay over there. What Destiny Child say? All my independent women, all my independent football teams, stay over there.
Malik, your thoughts on Notre Dame?
Yeah, just to add on to what Octavia said, this is definitely a case of the rabbit has the gun now. The ACC has a team that is trying to get into the playoffs, Miami. The conversation was, does Miami get in? Does Notre Dame get in? It wasn't Notre Dame really versus Alabama getting in. The conversation was Notre Dame, Miami. You're independent. So do your own independent shout outs, put your own independent research out there. The ACC is just putting out the information that's true and that's accurate. You only played one team inside of the top 10. You only played one team inside of the top 25. One team top one. Can you put that edit back up there, please? One team, like just bar for bar, athlete for athlete, stat for stat. You don't have enough stats to compete with the team that we are trying to put in. And for the rest of the years, this hasn't been a problem for you. So crying now really doesn't help now, because you are a part of the family, and when it comes down to it, you haven't played any. Independent means make your resume, make your case. One to win inside of the top 35 and top 25 doesn't make your case. we're putting out a team that has 4 wins inside the top 35, 3 inside the top 25. And we're the same record. So we have to push for the team and the donors and the people that's putting money into the ACC before the team that only wants to put money in their pockets during basketball season, baseball season, volleyball, and all the rest of the sports. When it comes to team for team, I understand why it happened. I don't see, and I'm very sorry for the athletes. Being a college athlete myself, no bowl game is actually like what a lot of the guys go there for. Especially the 1-year guys, the guys that aren't getting too many more opportunities, and Notre Dame being a school where you are there to compete for a national championship due to the fact that you're not in a conference. Yeah, it's really just a blower. I checked their schedule for next year. Unless they go undefeated and beat everyone by 60, they probably won't get in. But their 2028 schedule has enough teams. They have a few SEC teams, few ACC teams that really matter. So in 2028, you know, they have a competitive schedule. But until then, they need to sit down with the board and figure it out with who they must demand play. But you can't keep playing 6 to 7 to 8 teams. Well, 6 to 7 teams sub 500.
Hey man, they did it to themselves, man. You moved everything. You moved everything out your house except Notre Dame, except football. That's your choice. You clearly wanted to make sure that all the proceeds from football stayed football. That's cool. I'm happy for you. This is what comes with it. Because you got to be sick. You think Notre Dame being Notre Dame, you think the ACC wouldn't have kicked, like, literally sold their soul to market you over one of the other longtime ACC teams because of what your crazy fan base is like? Like, they just see dollar signs. That's on y'all. Also, like Malik said, part of the thing about being independent, if you don't load up that schedule, man, this ain't the 80s. There's no mystique there, buddy. We don't care, sir. We don't care at all.
He's playing against Navy.
dude, like, honestly, I'd rather see Navy. Like, I just don't care. I don't care. Like, you're in that place where it's kind of like, for a while there, you know, with the NFL drafts, whatever, there's a nice stretch, like maybe 15 years ago, it was like anything came out of Notre Dame, everybody was excited about it. Brother, Kyle Hamilton's shoulders are heavy right now.
Jesus. I was sitting there thinking, like, who's the last one? Jeez. Okay.
I'm tired for Kyle Hamilton. All right. The rest of y'all need to get in there.
All types of bets during the season.
Man, like,
maybe not, because he's probably not playing against anybody that's in his locker room, so maybe he's not even involved.
But like that independent stuff, like in 2025, now that we're in the Wild Wild West, and you tripping. Like, I could get putting all your schools in one conference in football. Say, like, you put football in the SEC, but the rest of your teams in the ACC. That to me, like, makes sense, right? Because it's better for football.
Schedule. Mm-hmm.
Right. But at least you're in a conference where, like you said, Malik, you're not worried about strength of schedule. Some of that stuff's baked in. And also, you know, sometimes the most simplest thing, like the most simplest view is it. Sometimes this is one of the things. You lost Miami head-to-head. If you had won that game, none of this stuff happened. Right?
Hello.
I hate to be that person. I oversimplify everything, but you guys made it easy. The top of this thing says head-to-head win, head-to-head loss. We were done right there.
Pretty much.
Everything
was just add-on.
Everything else was just cuss. But yeah, if you're the ACC, and shout out to the ACC, because I'm sure when you like, you sure you don't want to move football over? They were like, no, we good. They were waiting. This has been in the drafts.
I love it. You know, I love it.
But we appreciate y'all. We'll check in with y'all next week. Same time, same place as always. Don't forget, if you got a Roku television or device, along with Amazon Fire TV, all you have to do is search the Focus TV in the App Store and double tap OK to add the channel. We will see you guys soon.